Hope everybody had a lovely weekend, or last week. Yeah, got a lot done this week. Got a fully functioning... Yeah, it's a prototype, but it works, and it's got a score and a health bar. So anyways, things that will be helpful for you all right off the bat. So first up, there's the new forward renderer inside of Unreal. And where you do to get to that is you go to your edit and go to project settings, and then go down to the rendering tab if you're using a game from a previous version and coming into this one, and then you scroll down to this forward shading and you enable that, and then you can scroll down and you can enable this MSAA, which is a different type of anti-aliasing that works wonderful. Yes, so definitely use that. Next up was I tried using asynchronous physics simulations, but when I enable async, all the little enemies just go flying everywhere all over the place. It does increase my frame rate, but they just fly. So if anybody has any ideas as to why that might be, I'd be super appreciative if anybody has an answer. So anyways, next up is adding force explosions. So I have these little enemies that are coming at me, and when I shoot and there's a detonation, I want them to go flying. So what I had to do was create a new blueprint actor that I just named Explosion Radial Force, which is in the viewport. It has a force component and a particle system. This is the little explosion that goes off. And the force component is the base of the whole thing, and it has a radius and an impulse strength. And then under the event graph, well, the way it works is over here under the motion controller, under start fire, it creates one of these right about here. So the gun shoots, it looks for a target. Once it finds a target, then it emits, or a thing that it hits, then it emits a force explosion. And the force explosion actor has both particles as well as an actual force to play on the physics objects. And with that impulse, you have to make sure to call a fire impulse function. So you just drag a reference from the force component of your actor and reference it and call fire impulse, and it'll go poof and fire the physics impulse. And then this just spawns a light for a second, and then we destroy the actors immediately after. That way they appear, they do their thing, then they go away. So that's force explosions. Next up, oh yeah, that's radial force. Multisphere tracing. So that would be in the start fire, I think. Let's see. So if I shoot out, and then this is, no. Line trace by channel, spawn radial force, multisphere trace. Here we go. So the rabbits, their bunnies, also do this. So when I shoot and it hits a target, you get that target, or where it hit, as the start location. You add just a tiny bit of movement, this 0.01, to the end, and then under object types, just promote it to a variable and declare it as pawns. And it's going to look for everything within this radius of 60 that also was hit. And then you have your list of things to either kill them or make them get angry also, or do whatever you want. But anyways, doing this multi-sphere trace for objects will do a radial trace around whatever your position is, or what position you define, and it'll return a list of all the things of those certain object types you declared, so that you can do as you wish with them. So anyways, that was super useful for an explosion and anything nearby it also getting killed, or also when one of the enemies gets angry, then he can slowly turn his neighbors angry, and I have it on a time delay, which I think so first up, before the time delay, that would have been a wonderful segue. Um, so first up, we have the haptic feedback. So what you have to do to get your little controllers to vibrate is first you have to create one of these. You just right click and go to blueprints and create one called a force feedback effect. And inside that force feedback effect is just some curves, and you just tell it to affect the left large and small, or the right large and small. I have one for the left and one for the right. And this is a curve for how much vibration you want, and it's just, trails off. And then after you create those, then you can call this function called a client play force feedback. And that you have to tell it which controller it's hitting. And then, this is just some if-thens to declare left and right. But anyways, and then on each one, vibrate the left gun or vibrate the right gun. And then the gun vibrates. So, yeah, so that's at the beginning of my start shooting functions. So, anyways, that's force feedback. But now, back to timed events. Figured those out because I needed, let's see. I needed the bunnies, or the enemies, to, when I shoot their friends, anyone in that vicinity gets angry. But I wanted anybody in their vicinity, so if anybody was angry, anybody near them would get angry. Kind of mob mentality. But, I needed that on a time delay so they weren't instantly all angry. It would kind of spread. It'd go tick, 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 and anybody nearby those, and it would spread out. So the timed delays you set up like this. You use a set timer by function name. And so what this does is at the event begin play is where these start ticking. This is one that just keeps going and fires every moment. But at the beginning, right here, for example, it's this set timer by function name is starting the looking for neighbors to anger. And I set my anger timer to 0.5 seconds. So every 0.5 seconds, if any enemies are angry, their neighbors, it'll look for its neighbors, and then its neighbors will get angry too. And then, actually only one at a time. So that way it kind of spreads. So, anyways, but that's in the looking for neighbors to anger. So, to show you that real quick. Yeah, it comes in here. Is your mood happy? If so, don't do anything. If your mood's if your mood's happy, then go ahead through, and if your mood's already angry, then skip the rest because you're already angry. But then it does a sphere trace to look for neighbors, and then it goes along and checks until it finds at least one neighbor that isn't angry, and then it sets them to angry. And once it's all done, it jumps back out, and you're back over here, or back into the regular game. So anyways, the entire game, all the bunnies or enemies that are angry will be once every 0.5 seconds will be looking for a neighbor to then in turn get them angry. So yeah, that's timer event functions. Those were very helpful. And 3D widgets. I don't know if this is cheat or not, but what I did to get a widget working, so I have a health bar and a score, is I created a widget. Hopefully this opens up friendly enough. Yeah, with a few things on it. And then what you do is you drag and drop something in, like any one of these texts. And then, for example, let's see, the score one right here. What you do is at the top, you put a check mark on is variable. And then down here where the actual text is, you'd click on this down arrow and you'd say create binding. Now I've already created the binding, so let's see if I can get to it. There we go. Yeah. So that means the entire time this HUD is up, it's going to be running this, and it's going to go to the motion. There's probably a better way to do this. Please let me know how to do this better if I'm doing it sloppy. But anyways, right now, every moment it checks the player and then says, hey, what's the player's score? And then return that, and whatever gets returned, this return is automatically set up when you create the binding. So whatever you return then gets displayed on the UI underscore because it's bound to it. So you can do whatever you want inside those functions, and whatever gets returned is what will get pushed into there. Oh, and side note, with the health bars, it's good to note that everything, that's this part right here, yeah. Everything in a health bar you want to divide by 100. So I thought because my character's health was 100 slowly going down as the enemy is attacked, that it was fine, but you actually have to divide by 100. So you get the decimals. And once I created this widget, I can close some of these. Force feedback. Once you design this widget, then inside the VR pawn, you can just drag and drop the widget so it's sitting right here. It's actually, yeah, again, this might not be the best way to do this. If anybody knows better ways of doing this, please let me know. But it's the way I figured to make it work. I just attached it to the camera so it's always sitting in front of the camera doing its thing. And so, yeah, hopefully those are helpful to people out there. People to thank very much. Should have put this at the beginning, but here they are. On YouTube, there's Totally Unreal for the Force Explosions tutorial. Mathew Wadstein for the Multispheretrace tutorial. Crow87 for his Haptic FeedBack tutorials. Tesla Dev for 3D Widgets. And I think that's everybody. Did I hit up the tutorials? I'll put them in the links below. Down there. I can do that now. So anyways, yeah, they were all super duper helpful, and so what I have now is quite a lot of change since last week. So what we have is we have enemies spawning at a slightly more maintained rate. I still want to get them to spawn in big clumps, so they're coming in like waves, but right now it is what it is. It's just, you know, gotta change this as you go along. But I can shoot them, they blow up particles, they get their neighbors angry slowly but surely. When they're angry, they come at me faster. I have a health bar, they can kill me. When the game ends, it actually says game over and pauses the game. When you unpause it after, or you can pause and unpause the game, when you unpause it after that, it restarts the world. That part bugged out a little bit earlier, so I may need to revisit that. But it's kind of an actual functional game now, so it's pretty cool. Let me see here. I'll just grab one of the guns, because yes, video, headset, everything's too much. So we hit play, and then make sure you can see what I'm seeing. Yep. And then, so here come these guys first. If I shoot them, I can kill them. If I shoot near them, see their anger starts to spread. And then all of them start to get angry. And if you notice, my score at the top middle is going up. And then also my health bar, while they're inside, they're actually attacking me. And when I shoot them, you get the little blast lights and particles. When they die, they change color when they're angry. And those guys are coming in last, and yeah. Oh, and game over. So now comes the fun to see if I can get it to work. So it should be this one. Nope. There it goes. Okay, and then it restarts. And then, so I'll show you one more time. Oh, see, yeah, now the sound starts to mess up a little bit. Anywho, we shoot this way. Yeah, there, I'm going to restart it one more time. Because the sound, yeah, I almost got the pause, unpause, restart the thing working. But, anyways, one more time for giggles. So, yeah. There's those guys flying around up there. Ooh, a little bit of a, yep, something went wrong with my frame rate. There it goes, it came back. So they're all angry and coming at me. yeah, it's really actually hard to kind of fight them off, and these guys too over here, because once they start getting angry, then it just starts spreading like wildfire, and it's much more useful to have both weapons available, but such is life. And yeah, so it's a start. It's a functional start, and I had my first playtest. She did awesome, Kendra. Anyways, yes. So that's it so far, and hope everybody had a lovely week. That's where I am so far. Up next is, like I said, trying to develop the tactics of the bunnies coming in, or the enemies coming in just in one group, and then another group, and so that way you kind of have to like have, the game's got to have some tactics to it. So anyways, and then leveling out their health, and I'm thinking about changing the way they move from being physics driven to regular driven. I don't know, just because I want to get their numbers way, way, way up there. And then also there's doing ragdoll physics on their limbs, so that when you shoot them, they'll tumble and do hilarity. Let's see, what's all on the list? Let's see. Yeah, I get it. Then once I get all that in place, then it's time to open up a Steam account, so I can start using that for my development area. And yes, prototyping is coming along nicely. So anyways, hope everybody had a lovely weekend, and hope everybody is getting to look forward to seeing friends and family on next weekend. Maybe Thursday. Turkeys. Anyways, yeah. So, hope everybody has a good week, and hope everybody has a lovely Thursday. And I'll see y'all next Monday and or Sunday night. Yes. Peace.